everybody, and happy Monday. Welcome back to the Fumble Live, and happy Black History Month. It's February 1st, marks the start of Black History Month. You guys, today we are getting into an unusual update from an NBA athlete, Dennis Smith Jr. I can't wait to dive into that. We're also talking about how Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal threw some shade at commentators. But before we do that, subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Britt. You guys can follow me on all social media I am Britt Johnson. Again, I will go off of Devin. Happy Black History Month to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sure we'll have more things to talk about with Black History Month in mind throughout the month today. But first, we are going to be getting into this sports news, you guys, and I can't wait to talk about Dennis Smith Jr. Okay, so after appearing in 3 games this season, he reportedly asked the New York Knicks if he could actually move to the team's G League because he just wasn't getting the minutes that he wanted to play, and he knew he would have a better opportunity of getting those minutes and getting that game time in the G League. So he dealt with a quad injury that kept him out of the lineup for 5 games, but he hasn't played in any of the past 6 games, and he's totaled just 10 minutes of playing time since January 10th. The Knicks are actually planning to honor his request. The team's head coach said that he commends him for wanting to play in the G League, and he thinks it'll be a good opportunity for him to log some good, solid minutes. And this is the first time that we're seeing a top draft pick. He went 9th in the first round, choose to move to the G League. I'm very curious to hear how you guys feel about this. Jackie, do you feel like this was the right move?
I mean, I had to take this in for a second when I first heard about it because I've never actually heard about somebody requesting to go to the G League. So I had to kind of sit back and think, what does that mean for him? But he's never, to my knowledge, ever played a full season. Even his first season, he only played 69 games. And then, like you said, he just played the 3 games this season and 34 games last season. So I do think this is good for him. If he wants to play, obviously everybody in the league wants to play. Nobody just wants to sit around, right? So he wants to play, and I think the G League is an amazing move for him. We've talked several times on this show about the opportunity the G League is going to give a lot of high school people, but I think now we're seeing the G League can give people who really want to prove themselves an opportunity, because now if he goes into the G League and proves himself and does what he does, now he can be picked up by anybody. Anybody can say, okay, we've got a need for him, we can pull him over. So I think that was amazing on his part. And it just shows a level of humility that we have not seen in a long time. We're used to James Harden pouting to get his way, or, even Kawhi faking an injury so he can be traded. We're used to that kind of thing. We're not used to somebody being humble and saying, hey, this isn't working for me. Let me try something different. And let me just ask for something different. So I think it's a huge hash mark, a golden star for this man. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I'm not sure how it works out contractually, though. That's my only thing that I was looking into, because he's scheduled to make, I think, around $4 million this season. And unless I'm wrong, I know Britt kind of knows the contracts of the G League. They make $125,000. So I don't know how that works out contractually. But aside from that, all signs point to this is a really good move, and it's just a really stand-up move on his part to understand that this is a move that could work for him long term. So shouts out to him. I thought it was dope.
Yeah, actually, Jackie, I like what you said about humility there. It does take, not a big ego. His ego has to kind of be in check for him to be able to say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to move down. But Britt, what I wanted to ask you, and then maybe you can talk a little bit more about the contracts like Jackie was mentioning, but he did sort of go backwards here. So do you feel like this move is going to benefit him, or will it hurt him in the long run to go from the NBA down to the G League?
Well, he is on his final year of his rookie contract, and this is huge. He does need to get those minutes up, and not in playing just 28 minutes in those 3 games that he did play is not going to be enough to get any kind of contract. I remember I know Jackie hates my guy, but Danny Green was on, it was then called the D League. He was on the D League and he spent several years, bouncing through the D League and stuff like that until he started doing some serious things in the D League. And then the Spurs were like, okay, we're going to bring him up. He ended up that same season recording the most 3 points at the time that had ever been made in a playoff game. So obviously, I believe Steph and Clay have both broken those records since, but at the time, it was the most threes ever made in a playoff game. And so, and going on to win now 3 championships with 3 different teams. So the G League has benefited players in the past, or D League, whatever era you were playing in, but it has benefited players in the past, and especially this being his last year on his contract, he has to make a move. He has to do something like this. And not only is he, having like the self-awareness of like, okay, I need to work on some things. My injuries, have, helped or hurt me in a sense of how many games I've been able to play and how many minutes I've been able to play. The G League is going to be starting mid-February. It's 18 teams that are going into a bubble in Orlando. So this is a huge thing because he's going into a bubble situation, and we know from all the NBA players last season, the bubble was not the place they wanted to be. That they did not like the bubble and how like restrictive it was. And he's putting himself in a place like, I'm going to go into this bubble. Hopefully he has this Jimmy Buckets mentality. I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm just going to focus on my game. It's not a long season. It's going to be a 15-game season, and he can focus on his game, his work, whatever he needs to do. He does actually, lose out on the contract money that he is going to be making. Like there's some of it, his base salary that he gets, but then everything outside of that, which would have been part of that $4 million, he does lose some of that money. So he's taking a huge risk, but he also can be rewarded greatly if he does well. And I think that it goes to his thought process of, hey, I can do this. When I was in college, I remember following him because he went to NC State, and I'm a UNC fan, and they're rivals. They don't like each other. And he was ACC Rookie of the year he goes on to get drafted 9th overall. So this guy can play. I've been a fan of him for a long time, and kind of every year we saw him kind of decline more, whatever it was, the injuries and stuff that he's suffered over the years. But he's played less and less games every single year, and this is his kind of do or die moment, and what the G League is doing this year and having these young guys that are coming straight out of high school. We've already seen how it's affected the NCAA, Duke, Kentucky, UNC, all unranked right now because they were gunning for these star players that are now deciding to take G League routes or play overseas. And the G League is going to become the new hot thing. And so I think all eyes are going to be on the G League. So this is a great move. This isn't the G Leagues that we've seen in the past where nobody watches those games, nobody pays attention. People will be watching these games because now a lot of these these kids that would have been playing their freshman year in college are playing in the G League instead. So there's going to be eyes on the G League. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for him to, I'm not saying it's his last chance to kind of show what he's got or whatever, but he's a young player. He's 23 years old. But if moving forward for this next contract, if he wants to show that he's going to be worth some money, then you do take this small pay cut right now in order to do that.
And hopefully he's been saving up like we always advise athletes to do, and so many of them rarely seem to follow our advice. But back to that bubble comment that you made, Britt, maybe being in the bubble is going to be exactly what he needs, like it was for Jimmy Butler. Maybe just being surrounded and only focusing on basketball is going to enable him to really get where he needs to go and get where he wants to go. So it could end up being a really good thing for him. I want to ask both of you, and Jackie, you'll hear from you first on this one. Do you think that this move could be an inspiration for other players, rookies, sophomores who really aren't getting any playing time?
Probably won't be an inspiration for rookies or sophomores because they feel like they need to do their due diligence, so they feel like their time is coming. So they probably aren't going to abandon ship quickly just because of this. So it's probably not inspiring them in that way. But these people who are at the end of their rookie contract, they're 4 years in and they really haven't been utilized in a good way. it might impact them. But I wouldn't even want a rookie or a sophomore player who's not getting the minutes to consider this as an option, because you have to pay your dues sometimes. And depending on what squad you're on, if you're on a squad that's stacked, it's just not your time yet. So you just have to put in the time, get to where you're going. Maybe a trade will come up. The trade deadline is in March. Maybe you'll be traded, shipped off to somewhere that can utilize you. But I don't think it should be an option for, first or second year players. But, once you're ending that first contract and you still haven't, nobody knows your name really, then maybe you should think about it at that point.
Britt, what do you think?
At the rookie sophomore season, I think the coaches make those decisions. The coaches often do times send those guys to the G League in order for them to play a couple games. And we do remember Steph when he decided to go play in the G League for like a week when he first got done with his injury. I don't think this is going to inspire anybody to do anything different, because usually the coaches will decide, we're going to put you in the G League for a little bit because you're struggling, and that's just a decision that's made then. The older the player gets, I think these guys just want to get their money, and so they're not going to decide themselves to go the G League route unless it is like an injury or whatever. And we've seen players kind of do that for like a week or so, and then they're done with it. I don't think this is really going to inspire any other players to do that, but it does seem best fit for Dennis Smith Jr. to do something like this. I remember interviewing a guy that was playing in the CFL at the time, and now he's actually back in the NFL. But he said he, instead of being on a practice squad in the NFL, he left the practice squad to play in the CFL just so he could get those minutes and continue to play and not kind of like lose that grit for the game. And that was his choice. And now he is back in the NFL and doing great, actually. But that's just kind of like a choice for players to make. Sometimes players want to just sit there and they know they could put in the work themselves in on a practice squad thing or a G League situation and kind of play it out and wait their turn. And some players can't do that. So I don't think it's going to inspire anybody else. I don't think this is a trend we're going to see. This is just kind of a one-off situation, just like when we saw Steph do the G League for a couple days. I just think this is a one-off.
Well, hopefully it all works out for him. I think we all do really commend him for making this decision and putting his ego aside and being able to say, I'm gonna be better off by kind of demoting myself. I know that sounds bad, but I mean, that's basically what happened here. So hopefully it all turns out the way he wants it to. Let's move into our next Need to Know News update. Let's talk about Dame and Bradley Beal. So we've seen this before where athletes call out fans, commentators, analysts who talk about the game, but they always say, you've never really played basketball. Do you even watch the game? Like, there's always these criticisms towards reporters, commentators, analysts. And so Dame and Bradley Beal got on Twitter and decided to do a little dragging. Dame tweeted, and Leo's going to throw that up right now, as someone that watches a lot of NBA games, not just highlights and box scores, it's obvious that so many people who speak on the game don't really watch. And then Bradley Beal retweeted this and wrote, Leo, if you could put that up there, box score fans, the worst. And this is not the first time we've heard this kind of sentiment before. In fact, there were a lot of people who were tweeting in support of this statement, like Isaiah Thomas, Devontae Graham. There were like thousands of replies and retweets for this tweet. And I feel like Bradley Beal is one of those guys that really does feel this on a deeper level, because he'll put up great numbers, but because he's on a losing team and because, he's not on one of these flashy, sparkly teams that everybody wants to watch, we don't even talk about him, really. I mean, we talk about him here, but he's not one of, like, the main people on everyone's minds. So, sorry, I got a bit of a go there. So let's talk about this, you guys. Britt, I want to go to you first. Do you think this is why ex-athletes tend to have better commentary? Just last week we were talking about what Tony Romo said, and I'm excluding Shaq from this question, okay?
I was about to say, wait a minute now. Don't get me started on Papa John and Shaq, because hold on now.
Shaq is excluded.
Actually, we're kind of going to get a little bit deeper into this debate later, and you guys will be joining me on my Brits take when I talk about what I'm going to be talking about later, which is going to be very interesting. But to your point of do athletes, I don't necessarily know that they're better commentators. Do they analyze the game a little bit better? Yeah, they're probably better analysts than a lot of other people are. There's going to be a specific person that I'm going to be talking about later who is very interesting in his thing. But I think this is the league as a whole. This is how the NBA MVP gets picked. This is how, Rookie of the Year gets picked. Even in this moment right now, we are in the middle of AllStar Voting. AllStar Voting is the media, it's the players, and then it's us as the fans. We get to put our little percentage of our vote in too by just tweeting or whatever. You don't even have to go to the site anymore. You can just hashtag tweet, and your vote counts now. And obviously, the players who have the most fans and stuff get more votes for all-star games, and this is honestly why we continue to see the same people in all-star situations, and it's annoying. There's always guys, the same thing happens with the Pro Bowl. So is the league in general, I think, a box score league? Absolutely it is, which is why the fans are, because that's all we talk about. There's only certain players that are on First Take or on Sports Center or on these shows on Fox or whatever, and they talk about the same 15 players every single time. So what do you expect the fans to do? Only know and only talk about those 15 players. So I just think the league as a whole is a box score league. We're always talking about guys that we think are great and are doing all these awesome things, like my guy Dame Lillard, which is my favorite player, and they miss out on opportunities just because they're not like the fan favorite. Steph Curry was literally in the thing last year for All-Star game as like getting all these votes, and he didn't play a game. So I think it's crazy that we literally just have this. I don't know if it's like culture. It's a culture of it, and I get it, Dame, because I feel you. I think it's annoying, stupid, but it's trickled down from the top, and everybody kind of just follows suit because this is what the media does, and this is how the NBA picks their winners for things, is all based on box score. I talk about, again, my boy Danny Green all the time because his box score does not reflect what he means to the team. His defense, like he doesn't make crucial things in a game that people miss all the time because they just care about that shot or they just care about something else. There's tons of players that like literally can contribute. We talk about Draymond Green as well, he's only averaging this and but still, is Draymond Green still effective on the court? Absolutely. But does his box score reflect that? No, it doesn't. The box score of Steph Curry a couple years ago, leading the league in steals, Jackie, you know what those steals were. Like he doesn't, that doesn't make him this great defender. No, at all, not at all. He literally just stat padded stuff, and players do that often. And they have this box score that looks greater than what they actually contribute to a game. So I feel you, Dame, but it's just what it is. It's something that happens.
Actually, with that attitude in mind, Jackie, I wanted to ask you, we know that commentators, outlets, pretty much anybody that's talking about sports in a public forum, they sensationalize narratives and headlines because they know that's what gets clicks and views. I mean, we all know that firsthand. So do you feel like it's up to the players to just block out the noise, or do you think that the way we talk about sports needs to just be flipped on its head entirely?
I don't think a revamp is ever a bad idea. You know what I mean? Doing the same thing over and over again does get redundant. But, I have several friends that are actually sports journalists. They go to the games and sometimes they'll be texting me like, hey, you want to do this podcast with me later? You want to do this? And I'll be like, bro, I'm watching the game. Wait, ain't you supposed to be at the game? But they're literally at the game, not paying that much attention. They're just waiting for those interviews. They're trying to get that sound bite. They might be thinking of questions to ask, but for the most part, they've kind of got, in mind what's going to happen. They watch the game, but I have two friends that probably tweet and text the first half. They don't really pay attention to like the third, fourth quarter. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of is what it is. I think Ben Simmons is a great example of that. We talk all the time about the fact that he doesn't shoot an outside shot, but the man is still out there for the most part being effective. Yes, his numbers have declined this season, but he is a very, very effective player. But sports journalists are obsessed with a three-point shot. So now we've got to basically clown this man because he doesn't do what journalists don't want him. They want him to do, you know? So I think it's one of those things, but it's not, I can't even blame it on just regular sports journalists, you know, because I think outside of Kenny, when you talk about that panel with Shaq and Chuck, it's a trash panel. You know, none of them really offer any real insight. You can't even watch as a novice. If you're a novice, in my opinion, how this should go, if you are just kind of new to basketball, if you're watching Kenny, Shaq, and Chuck talk, you should be learning something. You should learn like, oh, when he set this screen here, this was an illegal screen because of this, and he gets away with it all the time. You don't learn nothing from these people. It's literally like a gossip channel, you know, but it's within the game. So I think you could definitely turn that on its head and do something better, especially when you are a former player. But I would say this, I don't think Chuck and Shaq really watch the game. Kenny does, and you can tell from the way he speaks about the game. But I think Chuck and we've seen videos of Chuck and Shaq sleeping during a game and then get up and want to talk about it. So we know for a fact that they are just box score reporters. So Britt's absolutely right. It's just that's the way the league is. And unfortunately, it is a lot of games to watch. You know, when you're talking about an 82 game season, 30 teams, that's a lot. You're not going to watch every single game. So some of them are just going to be box score reporting, but you should be able to at least count on those local reporters who are, you know, that's their job to report on this one team. You should be able to count on them for some real insight. But unfortunately, I just don't think you do.
Yeah. I mean, what do you get at a game? Like every quarter, I remember covering basketball games. You walk in half the time I'm going to 3 other games in one day. You walk in like halftime, they hand you the box score. They hand you a sheet for the updated box score for the game. It just basically has the stats on it, nothing else. And then you're like, cool, you go, you got your camera, you get a couple good, you know, threes, something good to show on TV that people are excited about, and then you leave. And that is your story. Like, that is it. You then pull maybe 1 or 2 sound clips from a hour-long press interview that has a bunch of different players in it, and you get 2 or 3 little clips, and you got to get your story out. And that's it. Like, it's so short and quick and done with it. So even local reporters don't even have time to even they don't have time to even do it. They have a deadline, 10 o'clock news, game's over at 9:30. I got to hurry up and take one good shot, get one good clip, and I'm just going to look at the box score really quick.
Yeah, you're so right. That's absolutely true. That's definitely how it works. Deadlines are so real, especially in TV news like that. And you got to work with it. There's no turning in an assignment late or else you're like out of there. So that's a really good point. Okay, you guys, well, let's wrap up Need to Know News. Jackie, can you take us into the post up?
Yes, I am ready for the post up. I'm excited about this first one because this is something that is just, it just warms my heart. We've talked about it all the time. I don't know one person in the world who does not like Klay. We are all rooting for Klay. I know we thought that maybe for a minute he might have been a little depressed, but he is definitely spending his time wisely. I don't know if you guys saw, but you know, because you can't watch every single game. But if you did see, Klay actually called the Warriors game on Saturday, and he also did a post-game interview with Wardale's Stephen Curry, who took a ball to the face because from a Draymond pass, which was hilarious. But check out this interview between the two of them.
Steph, what's going on, man? I haven't seen you in a while.
What's up, my guy?
Okay, first question. How did it feel? I've been in that position before to take that ball off the head in the first quarter from Draymond. I felt that same pain, and I just want to hear from your mouth how it felt.
If you're around our team long enough with all the passes we make, it's bound to happen. So we call that ball head.
Ball hit That's funny.
I got Spalding right here on my side of my forehead.
That's fine, though, because he's going to hit you in the shooting pocket most of the time, but once in a while, the batter gets beamed, you know?
Facts.
I just love those two together, even in this little situation. And Clay is going to probably be a great sideline and, a commentator. I can't wait. If that's what he wants to do next, I am all for it. But what he is not for is people talking trash to his team. Roddy McGruder found that out because I don't know what happened. I didn't really see the whole altercation, but apparently there was an altercation, and they started talking about it for a quick second, and then Clay chimes in, and it's a little bit savage. Take a listen.
Everything seems to be okay there.
Oh, my God. Clay's figuring out what's going on over there, Clay.
Rodney McGruder.
Oh, no, this dude might be out the league soon. He's probably mad about that. Who knows?
Wow. Shots fired.
He's over here checking my guy. You good?
Everybody seems to be okay, and everybody's going to their respective locker rooms there. But
yeah, I don't know.
No. So that will end it right there. But
That's savage.
5 over here trying to start something like he's a good player or something. It's like, bro, get out of here. You might be. Sorry. All right, we're done.
Easy.
Maybe he won't be a reporter now.
Okay, but look, we just said can you really say that? Because I would live to hear Clay be dragging people. I don't know. I was here for it. Devin, I know you always like the mess. Are you not here for this?
Oh, I am 1,000% here for this, and I love how everybody else, when Clay's just on, he's like, oh, he's going to be out of the league soon, all of that, and they're like, easy. Like, can you just shut up now? I thought that was so funny.
Britt, you don't think he's going to be a good commentator?
I just think there are people that go to school for this and they work really hard, and I think you give those people those jobs, not Clay. Clay's made a lot of money, but he might his dad did commentating and still does commentating for the Lakers, and he's been doing it for a very long time. So he kind of grew up watching his dad, on the mic himself, but a real actual reporter do that, they're out of a job. Like, they would not have a job, but because it's Clay, it's funny, it's cute, it's whatever. But no, I don't see a future in being an actual reporter. Maybe a personality, cool, be a personality, do that. But I don't think he's the next Matt. I think Matt Barnes does a great job with his analyst stuff, and he doesn't really talk crap about people, but he says what he is really watching. I like seeing that kind of stuff. Clay, and then in the beginning of it, if you guys saw, Clay's like, I didn't even really want to do this, but I saw #reporter Clay, and somebody put a lot of effort into that, so I'm just going to be here. I don't think Clay really likes it. I don't think that he's going to actually do something like this.
I don't know. If he does, let me tell you, I will be watching every single game, because you're right. A regular reporter can't do that. They would probably get fired. Clay can. I'm all for the dragging. I am #Clay reporter. I'm for it, because this was just my thing. I loved it. I thought it was, I didn't think it was cute. I thought it was savage. But let's move on to this next one, because, when you're dead last in the East, the East, not the West, the East, you kind of feel like there's no real hope for you, especially when you're facing a juggernaut like the Nets. But let me just say this right now, Wizard fans, if y'all needed a hope and a prayer, I present to you Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. Take a look.
Beal will pull up for 3. He hits it.
Big hit.
35 for Beal, 2-point game. Matthews with a steal. Here's Westbrook for 3. He hits it. Wizards up by 1.
That was the best ending to a game I've seen in a minute. Russell's fired up.
Talk about a turn of events.
I love this. What I didn't love, though, is I expected everybody to be like, yeah, that's the Russell we know and love, blah, 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 blah. No, the haters come out at night and the daytime and just all the time. It was ridiculous. One person, this is the one person that I got that it was cool with. Say what you want about Westbrook, but the guy is perfect example of a competitor. No friends on the court, just like the game used to be played. I know Britt probably appreciates that because she thinks it's a little soft right now. But for everybody else was just haters. Like, I don't even want to see all this fake Russ love coming out of nowhere. Keep that same energy you had a couple days ago. Maybe he's not a hater so much, but this guy right here, he and I are in the middle of a Twitter battle right now. He says he been trashed this year. Don't let the stats fool you. I've been criticizing him all year. It's not going to change, but a good game is a good game. But this one was great. He always bring it when he's playing versus Durant. Gotta love him for that. First of all, this is my biggest pet peeve. Don't do all this trash talking and then at the end say, gotta love him for that. He's not trash. He's averaging 20 points a game and 9 rebounds and 9 assists. Britt, how do you feel about people seeing Westbrook in this moment, which was a dope and classic Westbrook moment? He's getting all this hate. What's going on? I know you feel something about this.
It is insane. Number one, the Brooklyn Nets have literally gone from being not a playoff contending team to now they're second in the Eastern Conference. That game had 12.3 seconds left, and it was 146 to 141. In 12.3 seconds, they scored 8 points for a final score of 149 to 146. It is insane. Like, you never see that. 8 points. 8 points in 12 seconds to end the game and win the game against the Brooklyn Nets. This is honestly a great job, Westbrook. Great job, Bradley Beal. But this is a telltale sign for the Nets right here, which I ended up looking up something. Ever since the Nets got James Harden, they are 122.6 offensive rating, which is actually the best in the league. Defensive rating, 119.9, which is actually the worst in the league. You saw this in this moment. No defense done for them to score 8 points in 12 seconds. Like, the Brooklyn Nets have a problem. I have said this a million times. Offense sells tickets, but defense wins games. And luckily for the Nets, they saw this, and it happened this early in the season to where they can go to the drawing board and try to figure something out, because that is insane. Like, Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal did what they did. Awesome. Very into the game. I don't think I've seen something like that in a very, very long time, a comeback like that, because usually you're like, oh, okay, game's over, turn the TV off, and you don't even watch it. But for them to end up winning that game like that was insane. But that just is a telltale sign of how terrible the Brooklyn Nets defense is. Like, how does this happen? So I would be more worried about being a Net than I would be excited about being a Wizard in that moment, because I just think that it was just bad defense. I don't think that it was exceptional offense in that situation, because Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, nobody's ever contested that they can make a basket. That's not a problem. Like, we know that Brooklyn Nets defense, that is what I'm most worried about.
Well, James Harden is not known for his defense. That's not what he's known for. You try to say, "Oh, look, James Harden." That's definitely not his thing. Strippers are more his thing than defense. But let's move on to this next one. All right, so Trailblazers, they're 10-8 right now. And I had said when we get to 20 games, that's when I'll start figuring out who we should be worried about. So we're almost there. But Dame decided to put on the gas a little bit early. So I don't know if y'all saw his game winner, but it was amazing as well. But it's Dame. How many memes do we have of Dame doing game winners right now? It's almost redundant. But still, seeing this young fan react to it was so awesome. Take a look.
Let's go, Blazers!
My goodness. I know Dame has got to live for seeing young fans react to what he does like that. They also sprayed him down when he went into the locker room, but I know he lives for those moments and seeing kids like that. So I love that. So I know I saw some of you guys in the chat talking about quickly earlier. So we're gonna look at this one because he's kind of growing on me. I can't say that I was as into him as much as you guys have been, but he's definitely growing on me. So this was probably an awesome moment for him. So take a look at this.
Now look at that. Some respect from the youngster.
I'll play it one more time because you might not have been able to see his lips. I know Devin says she's not the lip reader that I say she is, but I'm sure she picked that up. He says, you were one of my favorite players growing up. And look how he's looking at Lou, like, ooh, there's my guy. That is such a great moment. I think, we talk about this a lot of times when, Kobe looked up to Michael Jordan and he had an opportunity to play with him. And then guys have said, oh, it's weird playing against LeBron because how they love him. So that is just one of those dope moments that you love to see. One of these Twitter users said something that I think is great. This is what it's all about. Idols become rivals respectfully. Carry on. I think that is spot on. So that was just great. I live for those moments. But let's move on to this next one because Aaron Gordon got a cheap shot off on Kyle Lowry, and Kyle got mad about it, and really mad about it, and he told the ref what he was going to do to Aaron if it happened again. So speaking of reading lips, take a look at this.
There were a lot of words when Gordon left the court that game between Kyle and him. And again, that was a definite, hey, I remembered it, and here, you're going to get one now. Gordon went back.
He said, I'm going to F him up. If y'all didn't see, I'm going to F him up. So to me, though, this just reminded me of that Neo song, that When You Mad, because that was just, I don't know, that was really attractive to me, that whole moment. But maybe I'm just a Kyle fan. I don't know. But this fan is bringing up old stuff. I feel like it's completely unnecessary because he's going to just take us all the way back to the bubble and said he had one of the biggest cheap shots on Gordon in the bubble. He deserved that shot. LMAO, Lowry ain't doing nothing. You going to just, is that what we doing? We bringing up old stuff to justify these new fouls? Is that a thing? Okay. I mean, I guess whatever. But let's move on to this next one. I mentioned this earlier about what I thought James Harden was more a fan of. Kendrick Perkins was on All the Smoke podcast. We love that one. If y'all ain't listening to that podcast, y'all should do it. You missing out. But he states the obvious as to why James Harden sucked so bad in the 2012 playoffs. Take a listen to this.
We went to Miami, man. We could not get a win to save our life, man. Russ and James came to play. I remember I had a couple double-doubles. Russ and KD came to play. I had a couple double-doubles. Serge was doing pretty good. But, man, James ain't give us shit. And you know why? Motherfucking King of Diamonds and everything caught a hold in his ass, man. We couldn't get a win. See, in San Antonio, look. In San Antonio, he didn't have a damn thing to do. Shit,
yeah, he was cooking.
We got to motherfucking Miami shit. It was everything motherfucker do. We couldn't get that motherfucker to buy a bucket.
There must be that many strip clubs in Miami. I haven't been to Miami in a very, very long time. So clearly there's way more strip clubs out there than the law should allow for someone like James Harden to be out there. So I had said, I don't know if there's that many strip clubs in Brooklyn. I know there's strip clubs out there, but maybe not a lot. So maybe he'll be okay. But this user has a way to kind of analyze this situation. He says, there's enough distance now for us to absorb it and be indifferent. Possible takeaways. Number one, Harden's matured over the last year and doesn't do it anymore. That's not it. Possible takeaway number two, Harden evolved and since then can hit the club the night before dropping 40 on your favorite team. And somebody chimed back with takeaway 2 is the answer because nobody is buying takeaway 1 at all. And I think that we're probably lucky that there's not as many strip clubs in Brooklyn. But, oh, James, that's not what I would want to be known for. But let's move on to this next one. Okay. So 2 things here. I talked a lot of stuff last week and said, oh, I think so many people are going to watch the Pro Bowl, including me. I lied. I didn't watch the Pro Bowl. I totally forgot it was even coming on. I did not watch it at all. And I've been waiting to see what the ratings are on that one because no one was even talking about it. Did see a lot of highlights of it on Twitter. And we know that Marshawn Lynch is kind of frugal. He's talked about saving his whole first season of money. We've never seen him dress up super flashy, but this video proves that he is a little too frugal. See what happens when he gets kind of hyped. Take a look. Dog.
Hey, man, quit playing! Another one! I see you, bro! I see you!
That's definitely can't even see your receivers, man. This street is bull. You can't even see the letter that your receivers.
First of all, what in the raggedy hell? Why? What? He can't afford a chair that won't break? He broke the whole entire chair. Britt, I know there's a thing called frugal, but how much can a sturdy chair possibly cost? You're Marshawn Lynch. I don't understand it.
Hey, he run light, but he heavy though.
So it's not the chair's fault. It's Marshawn's fault. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's a thick man. That's a muscle weighs more. That's a thick man over there.
That's true. I'm pretty sure you can go to at least Ross. Probably got that chair from Target. Go to Ross or Marshall.
He definitely got it from IKEA or something because
it tied on the bottom. It tied on the bottom.
Waiting right next to it. Like this has happened to him before. Because he was like, he had one ready. Like, he didn't have to do a whole lot to slide another chair right there.
Right. I need you to at least get some oak. If you're going to get a wooden chair, let it be oak. It's a stronger type of wood. Don't be getting these plywood chairs. This is ridiculous. If that wasn't ridiculous, this next one was. I'm really thankful to this user because they took this video for just long enough that we can play this music because this music is the perfect music to go along with this video. You're not going to believe who's in the back of this pickup truck. Take a look.
We pull up, we turn heads, got the parking lot popping with the multiple jams. Show up, we show off, we got the cops called for us.
That's Aaron Rodgers in the back of a pickup truck. I've got questions. Why wasn't he sitting in the front? Whoever's in the passenger seat, you need to be in the back. I'm Aaron freaking Rodgers. Why is he in the back?
Maybe he wanted to. Do you remember when, maybe this was just me, but as a little kid, I always wanted to be the one that like sat in the trunk or sat in the truck. I mean, I guess I wasn't in that many trucks growing up, but like I always wanted that to be in the unusual seat. So maybe he was like, I want to do something different.
I was the kid that always, I'm from Colorado, so pickup trucks are a thing. I was the one that always wanted to be in the back of the pickup truck, no matter who, if no one was in the front. Until that one time, my brother hit a speed bump going a little too fast. And then I never wanted to be in the back of a pickup truck ever again. That was the worst. So, and if they're on the beer run, I'm telling you right now, that's their second or third beer run. I'm definitely not going to sit in the back of the truck on no third beer run, but shout out to Aaron Rodgers for being cool like that. This next one I don't understand as well because I play fantasy football all the time. We make bets. We do make bets that sometimes don't involve cash, but this is the dumbest bet that I've seen in a long time. So just to see what this fantasy football fan had to do when he took last place in his league.
I got last place in fantasy football this year, so now I have to spend 24 consecutive hours inside a freaking IHOP. Every 2 pancakes I eat takes 1 hour off my time. Here we go. I'm currently 1 hour in, 7 pancakes down.
Pancakes in an hour?
It's gonna fucking suck. I have hit my first wall. I think I'm gonna be chilling for a bit. Like not needing anything. I really have to poop. Or I want to poop, but I don't really have to, so that's a problem.
That
Some
counts,
friends
though.
from the league just came in to support me and make fun of me. Every bite at this point is taking me at least 2 minutes to chew and swallow. The manager from the city over just DoorDashed me 6 more pancakes. Follow for part 2.
No,
Ew.
we're not going to follow you. That's disgusting. That is just, thank you, Devin. Like,
See,
first of all, pancakes aren't even that good. They're not even that good.
I am much more of a waffle person over a pancake person in general, but can you imagine, you know how pancakes are just kind of like thick, and even though they're not super dry, if you have too many, they're dry, like they kind of get stuck. Oh, that guy must be just, I don't like that. I would not want to do that. I do not envy him.
Britt, what were you going to say?
Why is he putting so much crap on them? Like, if he's trying to eat more put less syrup and butter on them and just like eat them.
Nasty without the syrup and butter. It's like eating spongy cardboard.
Fun fact, I prefer pancakes with probably nothing on them. If I do butter. I like butter, like vegan butter, and then I might put a little bit of syrup on it. But like I used to literally get pancakes and put them in like a plastic bag when I was in college, and I just like eat them with nothing on them. Only one cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't do that.
And then, like, you get to, like, now I do these vegan protein pancakes and they're so healthy for you. And I don't know, I just don't like sweet stuff. I'm not a sweet girl. Everybody, okay.
I'm still stuck on pancakes in the bag.
Cool, guys. Cool. I'm alone here. I get it.
Pancakes in a bag. I'm a move on because otherwise I'm gonna be stuck on pancakes in a bag. That's okay. So let me do this next one because Serena's daughter is a whole mood. We've seen her a lot, but I love this picture of her just standing there so lovingly, just looking on at her mom doing her thing. Her dad posted this, and then I found something else that was quite interesting because another user said, "Oh, I love this beautiful family. Work for USTA and saw you interacting with fans many times at the Open. Warmed my heart to see how gracious you were with them." And I'm like, him specifically, as in the dad, or Serena? Because I can't really see kids running up to the guy who helped create Reddit and say, "Oh, give me an autograph." Like this is not what I see happening. And then I found the video of him with these kids running up to him to get his autograph. And he kind of has this whole, "this is so weird to me" face, but listen to what he says when these kids want his autograph.
I'm going to sign as Serena.
Oh my God. You still in the same shit where you her boo, so you got it. You got it.
All right.
He's like, "Why do you want my autograph? I'll sign as Serena. This is silly." I totally agree with that because that was just odd to me, but okay. I do love that family, so shouts out to them. That's all I got for the post up. Now I'm gonna move on to what we not gonna do, because this one's gonna be tough for me because I have been all over the place with the Browns. You guys know that. When Odell first went over there, I was like, they're gonna be kings of the North. I swore it to high heavens, and then I was like, nope, it's time for Baker Mayfield to go because he ain't doing what he's supposed to do. And then I was like, all right, no, I'm gonna give him one more year. And then boom, lo and behold, they did not only well, they did really well, because the last time the Browns were in the playoffs was like what, 2002 or something like that. It was a long time ago. And then they lost in the wild card round. So they got past all that. They're in a new era. I loved it. Good for them. But Baker Mayfield was 6-10 that first year, 7-8 last year, and then this season he had that 11-5 record and got that wild card win and got to that next round. So it's a good thing for him, and I'm excited for him because he seems to definitely love Cleveland. He seems to definitely want to be one of those career-long players as far as he wants to end his career with the Browns. I love him for that. But let's not pretend like so far he's been amazing for that franchise. He said he wanted to get that franchise to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to say he can't do it, but he does have to get past a few things because his record this year, his stats this year, he had 3,563 passing yards. That's 18th in the league. He was 18th in the league. He threw for 26 touchdowns. That was 16th. So it wasn't like, now imagine had he been a little bit better than that, especially in the playoffs, we're probably talking about a different situation. So now, especially if you're following us on Instagram at the Fumble Sports, you know that we've been following this Deshaun Watson thing very, very close. Devin last week asked us who we thought Deshaun was going to end up with. We don't know, but Cleveland fans are throwing their hat in the ring, and they're saying that they want Deshaun Watson to come to the land. So Dog Pound Daily posted this whole article. You can go to their Twitter, click on it, read it. They break down all the reasons why the Cleveland Browns should go after Deshaun Watson. The main one being he's Deshaun Watson. He went out there and literally made lemonade out of a whole bunch of lemons. So that's their main premise for saying, hey, look, we've got this squad now. Maybe we should go after Deshaun Watson. So the fans started really kind of co-signing on this narrative. Another Twitter user got up there and said, hey, we had a chance to do this. It says, Brown fans, this is the time. We are the team that Deshaun Watson was projected to be drafted to. For whatever reason, we didn't take our shot. Now we have a second chance. As we all know, second chances don't come often. It's like the lottery. So people are out there saying this is who they want. Another user said something similar. Everybody seems to be on this train of, hey, we need to figure out a way to get Deshaun Watson to the land. And I'm not really mad at them for saying that, because again, when you're talking about passing yards, we know Deshaun Watson was first in the league with passing yards, as opposed to Baker Mayfield being 18th. So it's a lot of difference. He threw for a whole bunch more touchdowns than Baker Mayfield did. He was 7th in the league in touchdowns. So there's a lot. And when you put Deshaun Watson, Jarvis Landry, and Odell Beckham, perfectly a healthy Odell Beckham, in the same situation, provided they don't trade Odell, because I know we've heard those rumors, then I definitely think that is an understandable situation for them to be in. But Baker Mayfield did not take to this well. So he went ahead and he took to Twitter and he posted this tweet that basically said, okay, some Twitter fans or some Browns fans are funny, is what he said. I don't know if we have that tweet. Leo, do we have that tweet from Baker Mayfield? If we don't, it's fine. He basically just says, some of y'all Browns fans are funny. And he did that in quotes. But here's the thing, Baker. This is what I want you to do. Because even though I personally don't want Deshaun Watson in the land, because I still am not completely convinced that it's not purgatory. It's like a higher level of purgatory for me now, but it's still purgatory nonetheless. So that's definitely not where I personally want Deshaun Watson to go. But you cannot take this personally. Oh, there's the tweet from Baker Mayfield. But you cannot take this personally, because these are fans that haven't even seen a playoff game since 2002. Now they get in there and now you get that first win and then you lose. So they're still in their feelings. They saw the promised land, but you didn't take them to it. You can't take this personally. I would definitely hope that you would not, if you're going to clap, at least have a stronger clap back, other than saying that they're funny. But you got to let this kind of stuff roll off of you. You got to get back out there next season and become the Kings of the North that I want you to be, even if Odell is not there. But you're going to have to let this roll off of you. What we're not going to do is respond to these Twitter users who just want to win. That's all they want to do, is they want to win. So you got to get out there and win. It's that simple. This is a say less moment for me, Baker. Even if they don't love you now, if you start winning, they'll love you then. So that's all I got to say about that. Now let's get Devin up here, because it's about that time. Does she have her water bottle ready?
Not today.
No water. All right. So let's get into Brit's takes.
Brit's takes.
All right, ladies and lads, this is going to be a quick one today. And actually, I'm not going to say much today, because I want to hear what my sisters on the panel think, because they are, in fact, LeBron James fans. I am trying to be less of a hater. I know you guys be saying I'm a LeBron James hater, which I'm not. I just don't think he's the GOAT. Another person that does not think he's a GOAT, but went maybe a little bit too far on this one, is Skip Bayless. Let's get that tweet up there from Skip Bayless. Kawhi Leonard is making 91% of his free throws. He's 78 out of 86. LeBron is making 71% of his 85 out of 120, up from 69% from last year and 67% from the year before. How can you call yourself the GOAT when you're such a lousy free throw shooter? Thinking of the thousands of points he has cost his team over 18 years. That was a lot, and I personally, we talked about it earlier in the show, which is why I kind of wanted to come back to it. The box score means something, but it doesn't mean a whole lot in comparison when you're talking about simple things like free throw shooting. Yes, we all know LeBron in the fourth quarter is not as effective. I think his free throws in the fourth quarter aren't that great, but does he still win games? Is he still a 4-time NBA champ? Like, all of these other things do matter, and he's been more clutch than not. Michael Jordan always, says, he talks about his shooting. You miss 100% of shots you don't take, blah, 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 like all of this kind of stuff. Like, yes, you're going to miss shots. You're going to miss a lot of shots, and you're going to lose. Michael Jordan always said he had a lot of shots that he missed, game buzzers that he lost for his team. He's also made a lot of shots, game buzzers for his team too. So I think Skip Bayless was way off the thing. I think this is honestly going right into what Dame said about, not just fans, but the media being very box score based. Shaq was not good at free throwing, which is why they started doing hack a Shaq. Then they started doing hack a DJ with DeAndre Jordan because he's not very good at free throw shooting. So much so that it cost the Clippers, honestly, their chemistry on the team, because then Chris Paul was always cussing out DeAndre Jordan because DeAndre Jordan wasn't practicing his free throws. Do I think LeBron doesn't practice his free throws? I don't know. We literally just saw a moment where Skip Bayless just said he has consistently gotten better in his free throws the last 3 seasons. Jackie, I am going to go to you because I already see you in the chat. Skip looks like he is a 4'11" and has short man syndrome. What are your thoughts on this? Because again, I am obviously a Kawhi Leonard fan. I'm a Clippers fan. He plays for the Clippers. But even I was just like, okay, Skip, I get you're trying to, show how great Kawhi is and how great the Clippers are, or whatever. Clippers do have the best record in the league at the time right now. But we've seen that happen several times before, and it doesn't end up panning out at the end. So, thoughts? I was taking this not hating on LeBron. I literally was confused, just as I'm sure you are. What are your thoughts on this, though?
I don't think much of Skip Bayless. I think somebody in the chat said it. I definitely think it's in his contract to be a hater. It's thou shalt always hate on LeBron is somewhere in his contract because he's missing, this is definitely a box score thing. Someone in the chat last week, I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was. Someone in the chat was talking about how important it is to kind of get that outside shot and perfect that outside shot, especially as you get older. We were talking about Ben Simmons at the time, but as you get older, it'll help kind of prolong your career. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but LeBron James is taking these outside shots with ease this season. He has gotten exponentially better. He's taking more outside shots than we've ever seen before, and he is nailing more outside shots, even at the buzzer, than we've ever seen before. So, and like Skip even said, by his own admission, this is one of these people who just shouldn't talk, but by his own admission, he's getting so much better at the free throws. And I've heard Skip say several times, depending on who they're talking about, like, the free throws don't matter. It's, what you do throughout the rest of the game. He says that about other players, but when it's LeBron, it's like, oh no, I didn't mean that. So Skip, like I said, he's got it in his contract. I really do. I don't know how tall he is, but I know I feel like his feet are swinging in his chair. I don't feel like his feet hit the ground when he sits in the chair. So I think he just got short man syndrome and he likes to hate. And so you just got to let the shorties hate. That's what you got to do.
Hey, I'm low-key offended because my feet are swinging too right now. My feet do not touch the floor; they are swinging. But I'm not trying to hate. I was not trying to hate on LeBron. I just thought it was very interesting that we could take one aspect of somebody's career and then put that as they should not be in the GOAT conversation because they can't shoot free throws. Devin, what were your thoughts on hearing Skip Bayless say that because LeBron isn't the best free throw shooter in the league, he should not be talking about himself as a GOAT?
Well, I think that it's hard to take this seriously on a number of different levels. One, we know that he is such a LeBron hater. So anytime he talks about LeBron, it's just like, it's exactly like Jackie said. He probably has this written in his contract that he needs to drag LeBron at some point. So it's just hard to even really take this seriously. But also, there's so much more to basketball than just free throw percentages. I don't know. It just seems silly to reduce somebody's entire career and legacy to that. No athlete is going, well, maybe some athletes, but most athletes are not going to excel in every area of the game. So this is just, It's ridiculous and it's stupid, and his feet probably do swing, and there's nothing wrong with that because mine do in a lot of chairs as well. But like, you just can't be up there like saying stuff like this if you're just sitting there with your feet swinging.
Yeah, right. And it's funny. Anthony's in the chat, and he said Skip is just biased because he sees Jordan as his god. Again, everybody knows, I am a huge Michael Jordan fan. Love him. He is the GOAT to me. I've said that a million times before, but I just thought and again, I am a Clippers and Kawhi fan, but I just thought even this was too far. And I do agree. I think every broadcaster or every host or analyst is probably paid in their contract to hate on somebody. We know who Stephen A. Smith loves to hate on, and that is my Dallas Cowboys. So I think everybody has somebody that they love to hate on. This panel, we love to hate on Tom Brady. That is why we get paid. It is in our contracts as well. It should be. I would talk way more about Tom Brady if it was in our contracts to hate on him. I would literally hate all day. But yeah, all that day. Is Prince today. Skip, you don't have a point.
At all.
Before we close out of this conversation, there is a warning to Jackie in the chat, and I feel like it's necessary for us to read it out loud, Jackie, just because you were hating on the 4'11" guys. Samuel says, Jackie, be careful. You'll fall in love with a 4'11" guy that loves cuddling as much as you.
I'm gonna go cuddle somebody that come up to my belly button. I can't cuddle nobody come up to my belly button. You're like, I lose them in a crowd. I can't do that. No. Like, where you
been? Jackie's face like this. Like, I love you.
And I'll be on the live, pick him up like, this go my man. Yeah, here go my man. And then just put him back down.
Y'all will be the same height laying down. Y'all will be the same height laying down and cuddling.
No, we wouldn't. No, we wouldn't. I'd have to pick him up to get him where he needs to be. I'm not doing that. No.
That's so funny.
No, I just posted something before, and it was like, and I'm not even tall, but I was a joke, and it was like, oh, I dated this short guy once, and when we spooned in bed, I felt like I was carrying a backpack or whatever.
He was shorter than you?
No, it was just something I posted because it was funny. I definitely have never talked to anybody
is it
close to my height. But I just didn't. That's Jackie.
All right. Let's wrap up the show, you guys. Great conversation. We have to remind Jackie of her simping ways every show from now on. So, Jackie, be careful for your little shorty simp cuddle buddy because he's coming for you.
I'm not going to simp for somebody that I might trip over. Not doing it. I'm not tripping over no man. No.
All right, you guys. Subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Ooh, yeah.